And he invited me out there to help him.
他就请我来帮他，
And I went out there and I went working for him.
我就帮他工作。
I did the work okay,
我工作的还好，
but when I left the work, I got beer and went home.
但是工作完了我就回去酗酒了。
And all the time I was home, I was drinking and getting drunk.
在家就是时常在喝酒，
And on the weekends, I was drunk most of the time.
然后在周末也是几乎都是醉醺
喝得醉
醺。
醺醺的哈。
This lasted for about 9 months.
这个好像也9个月就都是这样子的情况。
Then I moved back to Nebraska, back to my home where I used to live.
然后就搬回到 Nebraska 州，回到家人那边，
And I continued my drinking.
我就还是持续的喝酒，
All the time being really depressed and hating myself and hating what I've become.
就厌烦。
厌烦自己，怎么会变成这样子哈？
And for about 3 years, about 2 years, I had about 22, 21 jobs.
差不多在2年这个短时间，我有差不多22、23个
工作，
不同的工作。
I'd work for a couple months or a month and quit and go on a drinking binge.
我会工作1个月、2个月，然后就
换工作了。
，yeah。
And in the evenings when I wasn't drinking, I went to the church where I was raised.
然后晚上呢，假如不喝酒的话，我就会去教堂，罗马天主教。
And I started crying out to God to take the drinking away.
然后我就呼求上帝说神啊，把我的酗酒拿走。
Because I hated myself and I didn't want to drink.
因为我真的很恨自己，我不想再喝酒了。
I hated myself so much that I'd stand in front of a mirror and hit myself in the face.
我恨我自己到我时常站到镜子前面，然后骂自己，然后打自己。
I'd tell myself how much I hated myself.
我多么的恨我自己。
But I got a job one time that was a real good job.
那有一次，我有个非常好的工作，
And I really wanted my life to change.
然后真的想要我的生活来改变，
So I stayed working at that job. I didn't quit.
所以我就在那个工作待了很久。
But a lot of times I'd show up for work drunk in the morning.
但是常常我去工作都是醉醺醺的。
And I knew this couldn't go on.
我知道这个不能再持续下去。
My drinking got so bad that one night I put a shotgun in my mouth.
我有一次拿了一个长枪对着嘴巴，
Because I didn't want to fight this fight anymore.
因为我不想再挣扎下去了，
I didn't want to live anymore.
不想再活下去了。
I hated myself and I was really depressed.
我真自恨跟忧虑到没办法了。
While I had the shotgun in my mouth, I was thinking about my friends. What are my friends going to think?
有这个枪在我嘴巴里，我就开始幻想说我朋友他们会怎么想我
啊。
And I thought, what is my family going to think?
我家人会怎么样想我？
Then an even more important thought, what is God going to think?
更加重要是上帝会怎么样想我？
I believed there was a Bible and I didn't want to go to hell. I believed there was a God and I didn't want to go to hell.
我相信有位神，我不想去地狱。
The thought came to my head that he has a Bible that I should read.
所以我就想到我应该去读他的话语。
I figured if I read the Bible, I might find an answer to my problem since he's the one that made me.
我就想到说，因为上帝创造了我，我应该去读他的话语，我可以找到答案。
So I started reading the Bible.
所以我开始读了圣经，
All the while I continued my drinking, I started reading the Bible.
但是还是在喝酒。
I started having a whole bunch of dreams.
开始有很多梦，许多异梦。
On one of these dreams, I found myself in a banquet hall.
有个异梦呢，我就飘到一个我们常常跳舞喝酒的地方，
Where everybody got together to do a lot of drinking.
就常常聚在一起喝很多酒。
I was floating in this dream in the banquet hall in the corner of it.
我就飘到那个一个角落里面，
I had a bottle of alcohol in my hand,
在手抓了一瓶酒。
and I was drunk, of course.
当然我是喝醉的。
But way down on the other end,
在另外一个角落，
there was this black demon.
黑乌乌的 一个魔鬼，
He was like a deep, despairing cloud coming towards
他
me.
就像个乌云这样慢慢的爬过来，
And I felt awful and icky inside as he come
我就感觉
closer and closer.
越来越恶心。当他越来越近的时候，
And there wasn't anything I could do.
我都没有什么办法离开，
I couldn't get away from him. I was terrified.
我又怕又不能动，
And I took the bottle that was in my hand and threw it away.
我就把这个瓶子丢得远远去，
I cried out, "Jesus, save me!"
然后呼叫说：“耶稣救我！”
Just at that moment, a powerful power came up behind me,
那时候很大的力量从后面出现，
and the demon disappeared and went away.
然后那魔鬼就退后了。
And then that bottle was still out there, so I reached out my hand towards it.
但是我还想喝酒，
And
然后就伸出手去拿它，
And immediately it came back into my hand.
就马上那个酒瓶又到了我手里。
And here comes that demon right back at me again.
同时，那个魔鬼又过来了，
And I couldn't get away. I had the bottle in my hand.
我又动不了，我有这个瓶子在我手里面，
I threw the bottle away and cried out to Jesus again, "Jesus, save me!"
我又把它丢掉，然后大声叫：“耶稣救我！”
And the demon disappeared.
然后个魔鬼又不见了，
I
又消失了。
tried to look behind me to see God
我想转过头来看上帝，
because I knew He was there, but
因为我知道是他，
I couldn't turn back.
但是他不让我转后仰望他。
Like I said, I think this is a dream because after that I floated back home to the room where I was staying.
我感觉应该是梦，因为我就飘回到我的房间，
I floated back down through the ceiling into the dark room,
透过我的这个天花板到我的床，
and I pinched myself to see if I was awake.
然后我就掐了我自己，看我这个到底是梦还是真的，
And it hurt.
然后很痛啊。
And the days that following, I still went to that church that I was raised at, and 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, crying out to God.
所以跟下来我就还是一样的，更加的去教会，晚上差不多1、2点、3点都会去。
See, I knew from reading the Bible that God can do anything.
我知道，我读那个圣经告诉我，上帝是无所不能的。
I didn't understand how come He wouldn't just touch me and take me away
但
from
是
me.
我不懂，假如他是无所不能的，他为什么不能把我这个酗酒的习惯拿走呢？
I was angry at God. I was screaming at God to take it away from me. Why won't He do it?
对上帝非常不满，非常愤怒，为什么你不帮我？
I was so angry with God and frustrated with Him
我非常的对他愤怒和失望。
that I told Him, I said, "Okay, since you're not taking it away, I'm going to
我
open
跟他
up
说，
open up a phone book under alcoholism."
我会把一个黄页打开来看戒酒的电话本，
And the first number I touch, I'm going to call.
然后我选了第一个电话号码，我就会打电话给他。
And I did that the next morning.
隔天早上我就打这个电话，
I called the number and immediately went in for an appointment.
然后马上就去看那个辅导人，
They did an alcohol evaluation on me.
他们就给我的考验。
And that afternoon, I signed myself into a treatment center for alcoholism.
然后那天下午，我就被收录到这个戒酒中心。
So I checked myself in a 30-day treatment center,
这个是30天的戒酒中心，
which was based upon the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous.
他们是12步的系统。
But if anybody knows anything about the 12 steps, the God as they understand it is very